Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmanand Maharaj, to Sage Narada, and all other sages and saints, and to each of you, divine soul, watching today's satsang. So we are covering Narada Bhakti Sutras. We are on chapter number 3, and we will be covering Sutra number 54, which is primary and secondary devotion. Commentaries by my worshipful Guru, Swami Jyotirmanand Maharaj, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let's get started. Chapter 3, Sutra number 54. The Narada Bhakti Sutras. So the sutra is Guna Rahitam Kamana Rahitam Pratikshana Vardhamanam Avichinnam Sukshmataram Anubhava Rupam. Again, Guna Rahitam Kamana Rahitam Pratikshana Vardhamanam Avichinnam Sukshmataram Anubhava Rupam. Meaning, divine love is beyond the gunas. It is devoid of desires and it continues to grow more and more every moment. It flows in an uninterrupted succession and is subtler than the subtle. It is of the nature of experience. So they're trying to explain the subtleties of divine love or parabhakti. So we will be covering this in two parts. So today we will be covering part 1 of Sutra number 54, and part 2 we will cover tomorrow. So guna rahitam, that means devoid of the gunas. Gunas are sattva, rajas and tamas. So supreme love does not come under the sway of the three gunas or modes of nature, the gunas, because Mother Nature or Prakriti always has three gunas going on. As you know, sattva is purity, rajas is activity, and tamas is inertia. So when divine love is practiced in the realm of the gunas, it is called secondary devotion or gauna bhakti. Therefore this chapter number 3, is primary and secondary devotion. So when we are within the gunas, that is called secondary devotion or gauna bhakti, and it can be described and defined because we are within the gunas, so we can express that experience. But the pure state of divine love is as untouched by the gunas as the sky is untouched by the drifting clouds. So that is the difference between primary and secondary. So in the initial stages, when we are doing secondary bhakti, we are like the drifting clouds. But once we reach the primary bhakti or parabhakti, supreme devotion, that's when we become like the sky. Just to explain to you in layman's language what that journey looks like. So the second one in this sutra is kamana rahitam, which means desirelessness. A devotee who has enjoyed the sweetness of divine love becomes fully satisfied. All his desires are fulfilled in that supreme experience. Therefore, he has nothing more to be achieved. He is triptakam, aptakam, which means he is totally contented. Human desires for the objects of the world are refractions of divine love, because think of a prism, and from the prism is coming the light of the self, and the light, when it goes from the prism, it turns into 7 lights. As you all know, it turns from violet, indigo, green, yellow, etc., and all the things appear different. So it's the same self, but once it comes into the names and forms, it starts to change because of the different desires and the different things we have within. We can't experience the true love. So they are the refractions that are causing the problem. But when true love is tasted, all these desires begin to disappear. How can the stars continue to twinkle when the sun has arisen? So when the sun comes, no matter how many millions of stars and the moon, all of them combined cannot compare to the light of the sun. The light of the sun is so radiant that they just fade away. The same thing happens to a serious devotee who is experiencing divine love. And then the third trait is pratikshana vardhamanam. So they are very profound, beautiful Sanskrit terms. It's almost poetic when you are reading these things and experiencing what our sages and saints have given us as this knowledge of scriptures. So the movement in devotion is unlike any worldly experience of joy. That is pratikshana vardhana, means it increases all the time. In the world of in the realm of worldly experience, the same type of joy is not derived from the same object all the time. It goes down, we enjoy something and then we get bored from it. Repeated experience of the same object leads one to a sense of boredom. Furthermore, all experiences derived from the world must come to an end someday. When this body itself is transient, what to speak of the worldly possessions? The same, however, is not true of divine love. So divine love is boundless in its novelty, limitless in its expansion. So it continues to grow and it is boundless, which means it's infinity. It has no end, no ceiling to it. It grows moment by moment all the time, just like your nails. They grow but you don't see them growing, but yet in 2 weeks you know they've grown. So you have to, clip them. So this is, and your hair is the same thing. You can experience it after a little while. Our age is the same thing. Everything's changing. But with bhakti, the limit is it's limitless. It grows and it continues. Even a glimpse of divine love forms powerful impressions in the unconscious, which enables the devotee to intensify his sadhana. So what happens is, when he is successful and when he has tasted that nectar, now nobody has to tell him to do those things. He enjoys the journey. He is no longer being forced to do it. He loves it, he wants it, and he wants that darshan, that vision again. And for that, he is willing to do more sadhana, more practice. Thus, delight leads to increasing delight, love leads to increasing love, and the life of a devotee is converted to an eternal festivity of bliss. So, that is the power of divine love. But we have to continue to do our part and receive that divine grace. Om Tat Sat.